Of all of the non-Treyarch entries in the COD Zombies franchise, Infinite Warfare might stand out as the most traditional, true-to-form take that any other developer has done. And while every game follows the same basic formula, spawn into an area, fight off waves of zombies, buy new weapons off the wall or from a mystery box-like item, upgrade those weapons, and continue to survive more waves, all while working through each developer's own unique Easter egg storyline in their unique take on the Zombies mode. Infinite Warfare does the best job at emulating that original mode that Treyarch developed back in World at War, which is almost universally praised as the best iteration of the mode because it was the original. Most of the extra takes that have come after it, i.e. exo-zombies or extinction in COD Ghosts, haven't really lived up to the hype that Treyarch Zombies has. But Lee Ross and the team at Infinity Ward, self-admittedly big fans of the mode that Treyarch had developed, and not just trying to find the next big thing that Call of Duty could tag on as an every other year third mode, but rather wanted to pay homage to the original Treyarch mode that was developed, really cooked up something special with Infinite Warfare Zombies. And the biggest highlight from that game is a map called Zombies in Spaceland, the launch map that came with Infinite Warfare, and the community's introduction to Infinite Warfare's Zombies mode. And yes, while Infinite Warfare itself had a lot of problems as a mainline Call of Duty title, its Zombies mode was a diamond in the rough. Take a look at the gameplay that's playing behind this commentary right now. It looks like any other Treyarch map that was developed. Vibrant colors, cool map design, interesting enemies, a unique location, and something I think that helps it stand out is that Black Ops 3 era of silliness. It's not taking itself too seriously like an Exo Zombies mode or a Ghosts Extinction. We're not trying to fight off an alien invasion that's going to end the world. In Infinite Warfare Zombies, we're trapped inside a series of failed movie projects from director Willard Wyler, voiced by the late great Paul Reubens, who you may know as Pee Wee Herman. And because we're supposed to be looking at a bunch of tacky and silly horror movies, we get some of that classic goofiness that Treyarch wasn't afraid to put into their modes. Every other developer that was trying to develop their own third survival wave-based mode was trying to come up with something nitty-gritty and tied to the Call of Duty franchise, something that felt like it belonged in a milsim action shooter game. When Treyarch understood that what worked best about their Zombies mode was that it played to the strengths of the arcadey nature of Call of Duty. It was silly, it was fun, it had an interesting storyline, and it had really fun and engaging gameplay. What Treyarch does best with their mode is give you interesting weapons, an easy-to-understand perk system, useful power-ups, and mostly fair and balanced difficulty scaling as you go through the waves. And what a lot of these other modes failed to capture was making their game mode fun and interesting, making their characters likable, making the story interesting, and making the gameplay replayable. What Infinite Warfare did best was it tried to emulate the Treyarch experience. It wasn't going to shy away from what worked. It understood the formula. It wasn't trying to go against it to be its own thing. It was trying to be a faithful iteration of it. And while personally I think Zombies in Spaceland is really the standout star of the Infinite Warfare Zombies game mode, and I do think Rave in the Redwoods is a fair second behind it, while the rest of the maps are somewhat weaker showings in the entry, I still applaud the fact that Infinity Ward made something fun and made something memorable that I, as a classic Zombies fan, want to go back to. And if not for the fact that Modern Warfare 2019 ended up with Lee Ross and his Infinite Warfare Zombies storyline being canned, I think given a few more entries in the series and a little bit more time to flourish, the Infinite Warfare Zombies mode could be seen on par with Treyarch Zombies as the best third modes in the game. But unfortunately, because it was effectively a blip on the Call of Duty radar, only getting one entry in the series with 4 maps, it really didn't get the time to flesh itself out, and it's mostly been forgotten and lost to time. And because it's not a mainline Treyarch entry in the series, most folks won't even consider it as part of the broader Zombies entries in the franchise. Other modes like World War II Zombies, Exo Zombies, and Infinite Warfare Zombies usually don't even make it into folks' tier list rankings for different maps or versions of the mode, because they're not the mainline Treyarch mode. But Infinite Warfare Zombies is the closest thing we've gotten from a developer not named Treyarch to the classic Zombies experience. And this might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but Zombies in Spaceland is arguably one of the best maps that has ever been featured in a Call of Duty Zombies game, Treyarch or not, and it's one of my favorite maps in any entry in the franchise. There's something so unique about the take of making a Zombies mode that's meant to be taking place inside of a movie, and something especially unique about making it take place at an amusement park. There are so many interesting and unique gameplay features that you can implement by taking advantage of the fact that you're in an amusement park. The slides that you can go down on the map, the roller coaster that you can ride, making the mystery box a spin the wheel game like you're at a carnival, being able to train around a merry-go-round or avoid bumper cars that are trying to kill you, making the teleporter into the pack-a-punch room you going into the projector room in a theater, having a revival function that makes you go into an arcade and shoot basketball hoops, or putting the wonder weapon behind having to unlock arcade tickets. In my opinion, all bold takes on changing up the gameplay mechanics of the classic Zombies mode, while still somehow keeping it traditional and faithful to the original execution of the mode that Treyarch had done multiple games prior. There's still a classic perk system, there's still a classic power-up system, rounds still scale the same way as you would expect, zombies behave in a similar fashion to what you would expect, weapons have similar damage scaling and upgradability, the map itself is designed in a very intuitive way, traps are still very useful, and there are cool side Easter eggs hidden around the map. And on top of that, something that Treyarch is known extremely well for, there's an engaging Easter egg that spans across all of the maps and culminates in a super Easter egg, something that fans absolutely loved from Black Ops 3. So to give credit where credit's due, Lee Ross and his team did a phenomenal job at trying to make something special with Infinite Warfare Zombies, and I think they succeeded. And while this iteration on the mode is attached to a game that's not looked back at that fondly in terms of all Call of Duty games, I think it deserves to stand out amongst the different iterations of the Zombies mode itself. I think it's leagues better than Exo Zombies and Extinction. I think it and World War II's take on zombies are phenomenal. Vanguard I won't even talk about. In my opinion, just based on a couple of maps alone, I think it might even stand above a couple of the Treyarch entries in the series, like Black Ops Cold War or Black Ops 6 for various different reasons. It features some really well-designed maps, very pretty visuals, fun to use weapons, and unique gameplay mechanics that I think make it stand as one of the best. And I also think it had one of the most interesting story endings and unique boss fights ever featured in a Zombies game. Now, of course, in some of the newer games, Treyarch has been taking a step up in their boss fight mechanics, with maps like Black Ops 7's, Kawakujo, and Totenreich having some very difficult and very fun to play boss fights. But I think ultimately, Infinite Warfare, especially in the final map where you're fighting Mephistopheles, really set the tone for what it meant to go through a full Easter egg storyline culminating in a massive boss fight that felt rewarding at the end, equal to what it felt like to complete the Black Ops 3 storyline. And coolest of all, the rewards from completing the Easter egg storyline in just that single game culminated in a super Easter egg reward where you now get to play as the announcer and main villain of the game, Willard Wyler. That'd be like if in Black Ops 3 you could eventually play as Dr. Monty at the end, or the Shadow Man. Now, of course, in today's modern era, where they're probably going to get released as a Mastercraft bundle at some point during the Warzone life cycle, that wouldn't be too far out of the realm from modern day. But it was really unique at the time, and I think it still makes it a really cool standout Easter egg series to complete and go back and play all these years later. So if you've been apprehensive to play Infinite Warfare Zombies, or if you played it once and gave up on it all those years ago, go back and give it another try today. See how it holds up and see what your opinion of it is compared to some of the newer games that have been released, and compare it back to some of the older Treyarch zombie games. I think looking back at it now detached from the Infinite Warfare plague, it really does hold a special place as a Zombies mode. So if you do go back and play it, let me know your thoughts. Did you like Infinite Warfare Zombies? Or do you think it didn't live up to the hype? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you like this style of commentary, you can also drop a comment and let me know. Or leave me a like. That's all I've got for this one. I appreciate you sticking around and watching. I'll see you in the next one.